Isn't that Charlotte? We're always running into her. What's she doing this time? Ooh, looks like street interviews.
I see. So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache. But however this turns out in the end, the one thing it won't be...
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one. Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Oh, huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel.
Wow, cool!
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our Weasel targeted whatever people held dear, and no one was safe from his predations. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know, the phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders for his public reputation. Every man and his dog wanted to see him behind bars.
Yeesh. So,
not exactly. There's a good chance that the Weasel would still be at large to this day if it hadn't been for an accident 10 years ago. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched high-altitude escape performance. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And that was how the Phantom Weasel's identity. Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious... I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's...
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Well, 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the Opera House. Just as you did.
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. After years of what once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged now? And what does he want? I sense an epic...
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Aww. But Paimon doesn't want to get kidnapped. Well, he'd have...
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's reappearance. Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It does feel like something is missing. Something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lyney!
Magic, magician, Caesar! The Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lyney! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians...
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is that?
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning. Let's go!
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card
I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy.
Really? Then, what am I thinking?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind, as if to say, no, I mustn't let him guess it.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But the more you snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell?
Of course. And that's the end of my performance. You should really...
All right, got it.
Hey, Lynn.
Why, hello. We meet again.
Well, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy is quite beyond me.
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on his micro-expressions. That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. He made it easy for me. You guys, on the other hand, let me guess.
Wow, got it in one.
Wait, really? No trickery this time. It was pure luck. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief?
Angry? What?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there.
Huh. What are the chances? Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone will be showing up to watch my show. But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and an infamous thief? Wow.
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom...
You're being far too modest, Lyney. I think your magic...
Thanks for the compliment, though a lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But there's an important difference that these people overlook. Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's gone!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there might be a surprise in there somewhere.
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't moved this whole time!
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous praise was woefully...
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the... Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well-versed in floral symbolism? For example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounters. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious to know if there was any deeper meaning behind this choice?
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about floral symbolism. I'm just in the habit of using Lumidu spells in my magic. It sounds like something I should look into, though. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine's Floral Language Facts when I have some time. But it'll have to wait until this phantom weasel business is behind us.
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will of course see you at your show in 3 days' time. But let's hope the phantom weasel is caught by then. If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive piece. I'll see you all later.
So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us how you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid...
Aww. Well, magicians are entitled... You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to...
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank you for putting your... The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, but if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that the Weasel lives and he's been... And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so I asked Lynette to wait for her there. We should make a move. Let's go...
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
It's been a while, Lynette. We're working as Lyney's temporary assistants.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen Gemma?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown up.
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting.
I'll wait for you here and see if Gemma...
Excuse me, good sir.
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I...
Yeah, she does. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she knows he's gone and
She's been doing this ever since Caesar passed.
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so I don't know if the mind lives on in the water, if I'm honest. I think this is all so unfair to... Anyway, all of that said, well, that's everything.
All right, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding.
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What?
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons to children on the street, for Pete's sake. What, are we supposed to believe that he was a balloon thief or something? Give me a...
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news?
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well.
You've come to the right people. He was a great magician. I was right up close and didn't blink.
I saw him perform too. Sometimes he even got the kids to write their
He doesn't.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people, with the intent to steal it later. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just...
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, I bet Gemma must be pleased. Oh, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's...
So that's... Wait. It looks like...
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean... It looks like you're injured.
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question. Who are you, and what do you want with me?
My name is Lyney, and this is...
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means you knew Caesar better than anyone else. So, I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you.
I never believed...
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so...
No.
Got it.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want...
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something fishy about her.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at it. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. So, Today we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former pupil and assistant. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was the only one privy to all his magic secrets, and he inherited. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. He's since left the magic scene, though, and these days, he's a wealthy businessman with his fingers in a lot of different pies. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned, though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered temper. We'd best be careful.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along. And if it's no trouble, a couple of autographs would really make their day.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lyney stroking his ego.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address is also related to magic. Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do a magic show there. As such, I believe that I may well be his target. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the Weasel starts with a few questions about Caesar, who...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing.
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one possibility.
Possibility? It's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere. Look, if this affects your magic show in any way, I will personally compensate you for any losses.
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But this isn't about finances for me. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the gauntlet, and I must meet their—
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me, what exactly are you seeking to do?
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know for myself what really happened 10 years ago.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk. So if you really care about your magician's pride, then you'll forget about Caesar and move on.
Uh-oh. This is getting up.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you!
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on! You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of my face and go be drunk somewhere else.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the
Oh, hey! This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul, and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway. Point is, a lot older than when he first got rejected by the girl he was into. And he's still into, from what I hear.
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make myself clear?
Sorry.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts?
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Why would someone you just met make an offer like that? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious, but this guy's definitely covering something up.
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. Let's see if we can catch up with him. You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I just need to ride it out. I say way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete financial ruin. Note to self, no more drunken chats when Lorenzo's around.
So he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey, keep your voice down. Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people who ask too many questions.
What kind of
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. I'm not crossing. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what you said to him, but that's not a good sign. You're too.
And there he goes.
Shh! I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our whole conversation. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. We better take this elsewhere. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you...
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this!
There is no escape!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already... You're right! She was injured when we saw her. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing. Let's head back to the cafe.
The tea here just keeps getting more bitter. This coffee smells as good as ever.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can relax.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything. Why would they come after you?
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well, and I hate them with every fiber of my being. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do anything stupid. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasel's true identity. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance. I give you my word. Trust me.
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and no one's been there since. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile...
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and...
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
Whatever you do, please be careful. If anything happens to you because you're investigating...
With me here,
Coffee is life.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes... There we go. It...
This was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Shine down!
Now I'm fine.
Go. Illusion shattered!
And voila! Here comes the finale!
Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look.
Step right up.
These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
Looks like we've reached the end of this route. Shall we try a different one? That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder, if so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room somewhere. Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully... And... presto.
A secret passageway!
I'm a magician too, and apparently Great looks pretty big inside.
Shine down!
It'll be all right.
Orders given. Orders received. Rise.
Now disappear! A round of applause!
There is no escape! Ha!
And voila!
Why have you stopped, Lyney? Is there some...
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys... If anyone makes a major discovery, let's...
All right, see you.
The placement of this device and...
principles of magic. Whew. Much too advanced for Paimon. This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to... Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never seen any of them as serious about it as these 2. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally they have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more... They wanted to call me master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. I fear they've had to grow up too fast. I don't dare to imagine what they must have been through. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but they're very tough, but also very cautious. And they trust no one, but they hide things from me too. For example, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to, I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous too. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
2 magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Lyney and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar? Lyney?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how a high-altitude escape is performed. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, the base automatically opens. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start wailing and screaming. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and put on a hysterical performance. Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
very vivid description. Paimon can really picture it. And then what?
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished, as if everything that just happened was some sort of shared illusion. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and not the dummy. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive, and no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what I could gather from his notes.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape. Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person. Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the real magician go? How does he get out?
Glad you asked. That brings us... This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. And it's not as simple as it looked. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at a certain angle. From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could probably do it.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's no escape. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long, but one that Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong?
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the...
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here, which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact left-handed. Because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or situation at hand. But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will so as to avoid arousing their suspicion. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he set his gadgets with the mech. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret. But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't there. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two, until the bottom of the box gave way. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authority...
When in reality, someone switched the boxes. But how would they be able to make the switch without...
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his prop... Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could... There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. silencing you the hard way just but I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but...
You mean Gemma?
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people, you never even knew him, but for... Which is why you can't leave this place.
Do your worst!
Illusion shattered!
Bombs away!
Step right up. Here comes the finale.
There is no escape!
Now disappear. Let's get this show on the road. Step right up. Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking, and what
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolized Caesar, everyone else did. But I was the real genius magician. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art.
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their... But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second... Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing he hated more, and with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled, I had to kill him.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe you were in love with Gemma, but she was...
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I've only ever targeted high-value items. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous...
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years.
Very well. In that traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorette.
At least I can finally stop looking over my shoulder now.
Lyney has told me the whole... Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar?
Look who's finally developed. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it, because there'll be hell to pay.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the...
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now, but...
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us.
Gosh, that's amazing. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. Paimon would find it hard to trust strangers in your position, too. But you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people... I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. And then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest, at least his soul can finally rest in peace.
If only I...
Don't blame yourself.
Yeah, you still...
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? It might raise your spirits. This show will be a special one. We're holding it in Caesar's honor.
In Caesar's honor?
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No, where are we go? Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic to were Lyney and Lynette or not. excited to see another of Lyney's magic shows! Wait. Lynette?
Not this time. My brother's going solo today, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready because the show, the great magician Lyney, has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight, concluding with an all-new grand...
Wow! A new trick!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the mystical and miraculous.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. Caesar was a fixo.
Well, our children love magic because they're willing to believe in things, and somehow
Aw,
it was with a flower. He took it in his hand. I was so...
Oh, that's so cute!
Is that right? Then I suppose he... After all, you never know when the people dearest to you might be gone.
That's right. Paimon doesn't really know how to
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even Lynette, the Phantom Weasel! Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. The spotlight is no place for someone with no more cards up their sleeve. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act?
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all... There will now be a brief intermission, after which Lyney will perform the most The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but...
Lyney? Don't we have more? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel.
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking.
Really?
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine, she never... But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar.
So...
Being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him, but as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale. What's brought this on?
Don't worry, Lorenzo said, but I never believed that he was the weasel. And in fact, my investigation only made me more—
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are equally talented. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed is unshakable, even under threats. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front—
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out, even at the end, instead of a—
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in your version of events, then I think the answer should— Having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel—
An excellent answer.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic—
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like. Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have—
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would— Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed, she'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew ugly rag dolls from whatever scrap material she could get her hands on. This was her only source of happiness in life. But once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thoughts. I detest the happiness. I will rob them of everything they—
That's some—
Now it all makes sense.
Does this story satisfy you?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes.
That's right! Because without that, none of—
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now?
Very sharp, Phantom. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves. Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take—
10 years ago? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those 2 obnoxious kids. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went—
We remember all our debts. However, 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legate— But we did not—
And? What exactly did you take from me?
Free? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take— Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed.
What are you trying—
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps let's be back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed toward— He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. He's the reason. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, but that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you—
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world—
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the— I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the...
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew, Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone...
Lyney, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lyney said, when you're ready, let's head outside.
what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lyney after the show...
All right. Well, let's go.
Magicians are not like thieves, only tear things apart. But...
Sometimes I think... Sometimes I think I'm like a gambling addict. All I care about is winning, and it doesn't matter what's at stake. By the time...
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's all right. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lyney is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and then...
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished. Right? What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh.
Looks like everyone really loved Lyney's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual haunt. But, oh, you mean the one where... Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed... Alright, let's go look for him then. Are you all right? Paimon was scared to death.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, sometimes... Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop.
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda when we approached him. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. I'd watch their tricks and try to figure out how, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training, I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirect. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional.
So that's why you thought...
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took... In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was... For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no longer about me doing what I loved. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating. Trust is a beautiful thing.
Lyney...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the house of the... After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him, that night, I remembered his... To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show. Full of seats, you only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because...
Yeah, cheer up, Lyney. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kind of make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the... Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. That's why the darkness never... All right. Time to lighten this...
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. Lyney...
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly card-free right now.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with this!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? But more importantly, Paimon has to know how to...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as teacher. Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely...
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to...
All right, fine. See, shall we head back now too? Oh, Paimon can't wait. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning.
Just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today. I'm afraid...
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, but just as dawn broke...
That was cool.
Too late, bro. That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do. Please, fill me in.
Whoops.
Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in must have some...
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's all it took for her to have a change of heart, how did it take her 10 whole years? Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were in... Quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick just for us. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess what? Lyney started using rainbow...
What?
I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're more important to you than your own sister?
No, I just,
What now? Oh, did Paimon say something wrong again? This is getting pretty awkward. What?
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the Lynette? Paimon did...
Don't worry, I wasn't angry. I was just trying to distract her.
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.